Yo, Aiden Smith with the Paint Your Path podcast. We got my man, my coach, well, one of my coaches in the program, Mr. Ben Nading out of Iowa Team Midwest Painting. How you doing, brother?
Good. How are you?
Doing good, man. We're going to hop on here. We're going to riff. We're going to talk some shit. We're going to talk some updates. There's some sick updates going on in the industry and with some of the software we use. Got some events coming up, and I just want to give it overall. How's it going this first month of the year, 2025? We're in the later half, so I kind of want to do like a little check-in, see how we're feeling. First off, we got a few things going on coming up. We got the PCA Expo. If you don't know what that is, Painting Contractor Association. They're having their yearly annual expo, and I'm going to be there. I'm actually going to be a speaker, so I'm going to be on the panel. That's pretty cool. Wish my man Ben was coming out, but he can't make it this year.
Maybe next,
right?
Maybe next.
We got a bunch of people coming out from the coaching. We're going to be getting an Airbnb for all the Paint Pro guys. And we got a bunch of people linking coming out there. It's going to be the FMM crew, the DripJobs crew. We're going to be, for the most part, around the DripJobs table. So hopefully this pod drops before there. So if you do want to catch me, I'll probably be around the DripJobs table just because that's the software we use and we're tight with their team. So speaking of DripJobs, though, there's an awesome update to what's going on with DripJobs. Ben, what do you know about that update?
I know that it dropped this morning. Tanner made a post. Looks pretty awesome.
Was it drop Monday?
I think it drops on Monday. So Monday morning, I believe it should be there. At least I think that's what it said.
Yeah.
It appears that they're making things a lot easier through the sales pipeline.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like a revamp to the look of it, right?
Yeah. You click on the job, you're going to be able to chat with the client all in one window.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be able to decipher your jobs from tags to dates to a quick click of a button, and you can look up what you want pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I know there was some other things, I don't remember them off the top of my head, but I know I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah. So essentially, like, I was in corporate for a while, and a lot of the CRM systems are pretty sales focused, right? There's no estimating software, obviously, right? We're more just, hey, customer management, pipeline, where are you at? How big is your deal? And are we across the finish line, right? That's the gist of it. So because there's those, simple sections, they're very detailed, right? It's like, hey, everything about this person. That's kind of what DripJobs is doing now. They're putting the customer job, I think it's the drip, what is it called again?
Is it the deal?
The deal center for each customer. It's an all-in-one now. So basically, you'll be able to see their chat history at the click of a button, how many proposals they have out there, anything about the actual customer, but it's all going to be in one place. Whereas before, kind of had to go in like a whole bunch of different, sections to track everything about the deal down. So now you're able to even send or set follow-ups and reminders and notes to where you're going to be able to easily manage if you have to follow up or something like that. Whereas before, if you really wanted to get accurate follow-ups and whatnot, it was probably best to either have your own Excel spreadsheet or have an admin that was like really good with the labels, right? The new feature with the labels where you can kind of color code everything, like bad number, follow up in a week, call tomorrow, that kind of stuff. Now it's like you can easily do that in their deal center. So that's big.
The other cool deal, it showed what drips were going out when and what time.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Very, very cool feature. Click of a button at the top of the deal to shut it on or off.
Yeah.
Where you're dealing with a customer, you made the deal, but the drip goes out an hour later.
Yeah.
And you kind of look stupid,
Right.
Now you just shut her off, move on, man. Like I say, we're really excited about it.
Yeah. One of the things that we did in our business is, and I got this from somebody I talked to, but we don't rely on pretty much any automation for the first 5 days. If you're doing like a ton of volume, all right, maybe you put some automation there. But for us, we're just getting our ways about us. We're 6 months in. we're really trying to milk every single person, get it right, get them on the schedule and whatnot. So for us right now, it's best to have every follow-up done by us manually up to that 5-day mark. And then after that, it's kind of like, hey, we still want to just hit them, ping them as much as we can. But in those first 5 days, you're coming out of that estimate knowing the next move.
Sure.
Hey, follow up with me on Thursday. Hey, we're coming back to discuss this Friday. We have another quote, blah, 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 right? So, like, I don't want to say, okay, yeah, sounds good. Forget to turn off the drip. And now I'm like, hey, how are we looking to move forward? And it's like, look, we just talked about this.
Right. Right.
So that's one of the things we're doing. But I think, honestly, as he was explaining it, just because I know the software in and out, because I work, so many contractors to help them set it up and learn it. It's like a lot of the stuff he had already in there, but it was just all over the place.
Right.
He cleaned it up basically.
Yeah.
Made it a lot more, uniform, made more sense of it. And it's way more simple, I would say.
I agree.
Another thing is, before it was hard to kind of do blasts, right? Like email blasts.
Yes.
You kind of had to only send to the sales pipeline and the jobs pipeline. And it was like a mass text, right? Now you can send blasts and select people. So if you want to hit all the realtors or all the outstanding deals of 5K or over, now you can do that, with a click of a button. So that's pretty cool.
It is.
The more this thing can offer, the better it helps us out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think Tanner and the guys over there are working hard.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you give it time, it'll be one of the top softwares for sure. I mean, it seems like it's, I've been using it now for a couple years, maybe.
Yeah.
Not to its full potential. And now I feel like we use it more to its full potential every day. And it seems like every month or two, we get a new update that comes out, and it's always helpful.
100%.
So, yeah.
Yeah, man. And lately, speaking of that software, we've been getting a lot of calls for production rates. I've been known as this like production rate guy. And as you know, like that's just one part of what we do. But because everybody wants to get into it and get their estimating dialed in, it's just a common thing across painters. They're like 8 and 8 and 8, right? I'm getting hit up left and right. We're teaching people how to do it and stuff. And that's one of the big reasons why we brought you on too, is because you love this shit as much as me. Like you're all in. Like
I do.
I'll call you up and you're like, hey, I've been at my computer all day just crunching these numbers, making sure these bids are what I want them to be. And, we worked on some commercial stuff today. Like that's exactly why I was like, I need this guy on my team. And luckily now we can handle a little bit more of an influx of the calls because you're going to start taking some of them.
Sure. Yeah.
Because, you've been really dialed. Like I said, just having that hand of somebody while I'm kind of doing my thing, mess around, create new things, bring more to the table, ideas, be able to sit with these people. And that gets you better. Every time you meet with somebody and you go over these numbers, I mean, you sat in on one of the calls, like, what did you feel about that?
Yeah, I loved it. Like it's a refresh.
Yeah.
It's what are you missing? Oh God, yeah, that's right. And you go back, you hang up on that call, you go back, you start looking at your stuff, and it's like, yeah. That was every time I'm on a call, every time we were in a group meeting.
Yeah.
It's just like something new pops up. You get off the group meeting, you get off the call, and it's like open DripJobs and get to work. Spend a couple hours figuring it out and getting your stuff dialed every day. I mean, I spend hours on it. I love it.
Yeah, and I tell people, man, like you need to be the master of your CRM. Like it don't matter which one you use, Jobber, Paint Scout, DripJobs, whatever it is. Like if you're not mastering this software, it's literally the headquarters of your business.
Right.
You do 90% of the things besides work, like the production, in your CRM. So setting that up, taking that time, we do a lot of work customizing CRMs, right? That's like a big pillar on something we do, but it's so essential, And then there's all these other little features that these, software offer that if you're not taking advantage of, man, you're kind of limited,
Sure.
And for you, you even went the extra mile of saying, I'm going to get a software to even make this even better, to kind of put this on steroids,
Right.
So talk about that transition for you and how you've seen another type of software help you. What does that look like? Tell us about that.
Yeah, we found a software because I was trying to track hours, and the QuickBooks works, but it's complicated for the crews. The jobs are always in there. You can't get rid of them. You got to scroll through 500 jobs to pick your job. It was just really complicated. And we tried all different ways, label them different. We just tried all different ways and never really could get anything to work real well. Found a software. We've been using it. We love it. All of our guys pretty much communicate through it every day.
And what software you said? Connect Team?
Connect Team is what it's called. It's free up to 10 people in your business. They consider it a small business package, which as long as you got under 10 people, every single feature they offer is there.
Oh yeah.
You can put all of your forms on there, so everything's digital. So my guys got iPads. They get done with the job, they have that end of the day job to fill out. They have all their forms right in one spot.
You give your paint supervisors iPads.
Correct.
Got it.
Yep.
Interesting.
I don't. We were doing it on the iPhones, and I didn't like the fact that it was hard to read for the client.
And you're touching somebody's phone. It's kind
right. So I got them some iPads, and now they can just pull up their iPad. It's the only thing on it. It makes it really simple for them.
And this is kind of taking a page out of the coaching book with the acceptance forms and like the kind of on the job forms, right? Because before, what were we doing? Like having folders with the acceptance
We had
form?
folders with papers, and I remember I came to you and said, how can we make this digital? and you're like, I've thought about it, and I just started searching.
Yeah.
And we ran across this, and I played with it for about a week. Your guys clock in and out from it. It's GPS. You want to know where they're at, log in and look. It tells you exactly where they're at. Like I say, we've been using it now for a couple months. We really like it. There's still some tweaks that need to be done to try to make it a little more automated with DripJobs. But other than that, it's going really good with it.
See, but this is the shit I love, though, right? When you hit me up and say, hey, bro, you got to check this out. That gets me fired up.
Right.
Because, as somebody because my background a little bit, too, is in, kind of tech world, right? Like, I worked for phone companies and stuff as doing sales and business, national team, whatever. But, that side of me still remained, right? Even being a little younger, I'm a little more tech savvy, right? So anything innovative, anything that's has to do with new software, automation, AI, I'm all in. Like we talked earlier, ChatGPT is kind of just a daily now. If you're not integrating into that, what you do every day or trying to help you in your business, come on, you're slacking. We took our Paint Pro coaching template for the contract and we ran it through ChatGPT, slapped this guy's, name on it, all of his, state regulations and all that. And dude, it was done in 2 minutes.
Right.
Full contract, revamped, all that time you could have taken to have an admin do it, swapped it out in seconds. So it's that kind of stuff, man. And whenever we can bring new software to the people that are listening right now, it's we want you to go out and try this stuff, right? Because if somebody's not going out and trying new stuff, you're just going to stay where you are and, you want to have that innovative side of you to try and get better every time, I'm
not much of an emailer. I'm the guy that sends out the email that says, okay, no problem. So ChatGPT for me came in real handy, to respond to emails and sound a little more professional.
Didn't you say you were going to get the ChatGPT Bible or something?
Yeah, and it's funny, we talked about that, and I thought to myself, why wouldn't I just type in ChatGPT Bible into ChatGPT? And sure enough, I did it the other night, and it pretty much gave me some really good things to, look at.
So you said instead of buying the book, I'm going to have ChatGPT tell me what it
That's
is.
Right. Yeah. And it worked. It was pretty amazing. That program, like I say, you turned me on to that. And I would say I don't think, well, I got it open right now in a tab. I mean, I don't think there's a day that goes by that I'm not using
Yeah.
that. I mean, it's an amazing stuff.
Especially with situations, right? Like, hey, you're in a pinch, customer is giving you some flack, or maybe you're in a tough spot and you got to respond, but
Yeah.
you're not the most professional person in the world, or you haven't had that, reps and dealing with it. Give it a good prompt, give it the situation. You could even activate the speaking version, like the
Yep.
audio, and
Yep.
just go, yo, ChatGPT, blah, 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 here's the situation. What would you do? And it'll spit something back to you. It's
Usually pretty
crazy.
amazing.
Pretty good too,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Nah, it's sick. So keep it on this connect team thing because I love this. Obviously I know about it, but I want to kind of get some of the other things out there, right? So not only did we integrate the acceptance form from paper to online, so the customer can at the end of the job read through, sign it off, and say, "Hey, everything's a-okay." But you're also doing some end of day checklists, I believe.
Yeah. We got an end of the day checklist. Um, Basically, ChatGPT once again kind of put in there what I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
It created me a list of things that bothered me
Yeah.
at the end of jobs that I felt like guys were slacking on.
Yeah.
We made a little list for them and has, hey, open up the form, go through the list, check them off at the end of the day, and make sure everything's done.
Right.
So there's no excuses no more why guys are like, oh, we didn't pull that tape around that door jamb.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's just no more excuses for it because it's all right in black and white right in front of them.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I love that. And speaking of, and this is another topic I want to cover, but as far as like, hey, no excuses, right? Like we're putting these things into place to make sure that you don't fumble, right? So you don't have an excuse of why you didn't do it because it's part of every day now. So like for me, I've been thinking and investing a lot in values, right? The core values of company, the mission, that kind of thing, and even coaching more on it because it's super important, right? Because like at first, people come to me and say, "Hey, man, I just want to get this thing under wraps, right? I'm running around all day, not much production's happening. There's always fires. I'm not selling as much as I want to. Like, what do I have to do? What can you help me with?" And then I kind of take them through whatever we do. But one of the things that I feel like I needed to hit home more on is the core values and the vision because it allows you to operate in a different way, right? You can wring anybody's ass out about what they're not doing on the job. Hey, you missed this, you missed that, you did this wrong. But if you can speak to, hey, these are the values we live by as a company and how you should act, that's a different kind of conversation. It's not a personal attack anymore.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
for us, we took the time and we, put some pen to paper and we ran through and we came to three things that I live by, but I also want my company to now live by, right? And that's professionalism, teamwork, and deliverance. For me, for whatever reason, if you boil it down to the smallest thing, those are the three things that keep popping up, right? Because one, professionalism, everything we do, even in the coaching, right? It's from a professional point of view. If we're a business, we need to operate like a business. There's a way to operate like a business. There's a way to have business acumen, communicate with people, to look, right? That's huge. There's another thing to where teamwork has to happen, right? Not only with the guys and the crews, but the customer. Like we need them to be on the same page as us to help us do certain things, right? If we require them to move any little trinkets out the way for us to do our job, that kind of has to happen, right? Like little things, moving their car, so there's no overspray, right? It's like that's teamwork essentially. Then lastly is the deliverance, and it's kind of like a play on my faith, but also it's like we want to make sure at the end of it, we said what we were going to do, delivered on our promise, right? Across the board. And that's for our team, for me, the price, whatever it is. So recently, here's a situation that happened. We had an exterior project going on, and our process is, because in Florida it's a little different with exteriors, pressure wash, cracks, prep, all that kind of stuff, and then we hit it with a primer, right? So we do a prime coat, not just your first coat, but an actual primer, and then we hit it with your top coat, spray and back roll. There was like a patio, lower patio. It's like enclosed on this house, big house, really nice area, and my guy calls me and he goes, "Hey man, or the customer calls me and he goes, "Hey, isn't your guy supposed to be priming before they paint?" And I go, "Yeah, of course." He's like, "All right, well, you should talk to your guy because they just whipped out the finish paint." So I call my guy and he's like, "Yeah, man. Well, it was a paint match. It was enclosed area. It's pretty much the same thing. We're just gonna hit it with the finish coat." And I'm like, "I understand. There was like rain delays on this one. You're trying to finish. You're trying to speed things up. You still have to go through the process, right? Cannot skip steps. Our job is to deliver on our promises, like I said, right? Practice professionalism throughout, and now you're making me look some type of way to this customer." So it wasn't a personal attack. It was more like, hey, this is how our company has to operate. These are the standards now. And if you're going to undercut them, there's not going to be a place for you anymore. So it's just different. Before, when I had like all my, friends working for me and my boys, I mean, we would just be fighting. Weekends would be weird. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now it's like, hey, dude, we got a mission. We got like real standards we hold ourselves to, and you feel that also in the sale, right? Like I'm more passionate. I'm speaking to my guys. Hey, we're all on the same page. If you want the right company, like this is who we are.
Right.
So it just gives you an extra layer of like true intentional confidence.
Yeah, for
Pretty
sure.
cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, enough of me babbling. There's another thing that I want to talk about, and I think, man, nowadays, like, you can't start a painting company without, and this speaks to the professionalism thing, but professional photos and videos. How crucial is that?
It's been huge for us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been doing this a long time, never had them. Joined up with you now, 6 months ago?
Mm-hmm.
Paid some money, went and got some photos, done some videoing, got some Facebook ads running.
Yeah.
We're January here. Normally I'm sitting at home hoping the phone's going to ring, hoping
Right.
we're going to get to go look at something. I'm busy all week long bidding. I mean, we got work flowing in. The website, got it up and looking good.
Hell yeah, man.
We had a nice little website, but not knowing what a website really was.
Yeah.
To me, it was just a place where someone could go look at you, and you had to guide them there.
Mm-hmm.
And learning more information about it, knowing that if the right information's on your website, it'll kind of go to the right people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all been huge. I mean, putting your face out there, being that guy. I was kind of undercover, I never really wanted to do none of that. It was just Midwest Paint.
Yep.
The logo is what I was selling.
Mm-hmm.
And in all reality, most of my clients, they wanted to talk to me.
That's what I'm saying, dude. They love you.
Right. I mean, that's what they wanted, and I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just taking that next step.
Yeah.
And it's been huge.
Speaking of the website, man, I mean, you got a killer website, right?
It turned out great. It's
not
amazing.
only is it a killer website, but it literally is a reflection of your life.
Yeah.
I mean, your brand, right, is racing cars, man.
Right.
It's, even right now, like the orange hue, you kind of got some orange hair. The blue, you kind of got blue eyes. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's kind of weird a little bit.
Yeah.
But
well, years ago I had that logo made.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of why I started my own painting company. Was I wanted to race more.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew if I worked for myself, I didn't have to answer to nobody. And if I wanted to go racing, I could go.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of why I started it all. And it was great when I worked all by myself and go do a couple jobs a week and go racing.
Mm-hmm.
And as things progressed, I raced a lot less, and worked on my business a lot more.
Yeah.
And then I started figuring out, like, without any help, it's never going to get any better. It's just going to continually drag me down.
Yeah.
And like I say, when I got with you, I was to the point where it was like, I'm going to go back to painting myself at some point here, so I can go do the things I want to do in life. Like I said, it hasn't taken about 6 months, and man, I got some time. I mean, I don't have a ton of time.
Yeah.
But
You're racing. You just got first place, right?
Yeah. I mean, I can feel the difference in my time.
Yeah.
I'm not chasing myself as much as I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still, I still consider myself 45% completely through the course of putting everything in place.
Yeah.
I'm a little slow, so I taking my time doing it. I'm kind of doing it on my level, but every day, I just push forward and all right, I got to move on to the next step. I'm never getting there unless I move on and just do it.
I was just talking to somebody about that recently. Like getting something done all the way and then moving on.
Yeah.
Man, because if you get it 60, even 80% done, there is something there, right? Like if you get it for the most part done, you move on, you're good.
Yeah.
But man, if you leave it hanging at 60%, right? Like things as simple as setting up the CRM, right? You go through that, you give it a once over, right? You got just your things firing off, but it's really just the default, right, stuff. You got your payments in place, but it's not fully integrated for whatever reason. And it's like you could be doing so much more if you had just spent a little bit more time perfecting it and getting it right and then moving on. Whether it's your
hard to
local,
delegate that to task to somebody else.
Yeah.
When you only know 45, 60% of it anyway.
That's very
so
true.
Until you know 100% of it, it's very hard to pass that off to someone else and expect them to do a good job with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. You don't know how many times people come to me and say, "Oh, I just hired this guy and he's the worst," whether it's a admin or a crew member. And it's like, well, how much time did you really, give them? Do you have any SOPs, right? Standard operating procedures that you went through with them? How long was their training, right? Like you can't expect somebody to be top-notch results and you didn't even take the time to really invest in them,
Right.
Like what we just talked about this with, you bringing on the sales rep. Hey, first month, look, you get a fully guaranteed paycheck, right? You're there, you're training. We don't expect you to hit the ground running right away. Second month, it drops off, right? All right, now you got to prove it a little bit. You've been here, should have been at least building up some type of confidence and landing deals here and there. By that third month, man, you should be rocking and rolling. As long as we set you up for success, there's no excuse you shouldn't be selling by your third month.
Right.
Right. So,
I mean, 30 days, you're out there kissing babies and talking to customers and,
shaking hands.
Yeah. I mean, 6:00 at night, you're thinking about how to sell a paint job. You're going out to dinner at night and you're looking at the front of that building and you're going, man, this thing needs a paint job. Who owns this building? Who do I talk to?
Yeah.
And I think you find a guy like that. Because that's similar to the way I am. We go out to eat and I look around. I'm like, man, the interior of this place needs cleaned up.
Dude, I was knocking on doors today. You see what happened in the chat today?
Yeah.
Everybody was just firing off. Like, who's following up on a Saturday? We were just hitting people. People are closing deals. It was crazy.
Yeah. Saturdays are good for that. I mean,
dude, they're home. They're not working. They're just hanging out. Dude, I was hanging out my door hangers, right? Because we have this job going in the area I want to be in. So I'm hitting it hard before Expo, handing out door hangers. And there's just people hanging out. And one of them, they had like some paint. It looked like they tested an area on their house.
Yeah.
So I straight went up, started talking to them in a random area, right? Like I don't live around there. I'm just kind of like, hey, we're doing the neighbor's house down the street. Are you guys interested? One lady I talked to, she's like, my husband's a painter. You better get out of here. I was like, all right, I'm gonna run.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Speaking of your website though, man, I mean, I just signed on with Mr. Micah, Search Click Grow.
Yes.
He kills it over there, man. And
he does. He does a great job.
We had a conversation. We hopped on a call, and not only is it a non-negotiable to do, but if you're just going the route of the Wix website, I mean, you're only going to get so far,
Right.
It doesn't work for you. You're not going to get found quickly.
No.
The SEO is not going to rank as quick. You're not going to be up there as good as you need to be because of the certain inner workings and back end if it's not set up properly. So, man, I mean, it was one thing that I was like, I've been low key waiting to do this, but I knew I needed to, and now I'm like, all right, we're pulling the trigger. We can't mess around anymore. We also signed up with Lucas and his team with FMM, which obviously does yours as well.
Yep.
So just we got the best vendors on our side. I'm obviously setting everything up to the nines and everything we teach and do. There's no excuse for me not to be successful this next 6 to 12 months.
Right.
Everything's set up now.
Yep.
It's like now we just hit fire. We got our door hangers, our yard signs. Dude, one night I went out. I don't know if anybody follows me or saw my Instagram story, but I literally recorded me handing out 40 yard signs, putting them all around the ideal areas. I was out there like fucking Batman. Just in the night. And here's a little hack, guys, if you're listening to this. First off, shout out to Dope Marketing. People in our coaching got 20% off any order. So that's really cool. So we take advantage of them, and they make our designs. We go out there. Not only are we planting them down in areas that are hard to get to, but I'm taking zip ties, poking a hole with my knife, and zip tying them around like signs, right? At intersections.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like on
now
a pole.
Nobody's getting them off.
Right.
There's signs that, look, you can't even reach really, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they work, man. I mean, I know they're simple, but they work, man.
Yeah.
We've got a bunch of calls. And the door hangers have been awesome, right? You put a little offer on there, a couple $100 off.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you, you know, that Dope Marketing, the guys that are in the class should take full advantage 100%. Of that 20% off. I'm very impressed with it. Mm-hmm. It's, you know, we're not definitely new to them. We've done very little with them.
Yeah.
But the system they have in place to make it so easy to basically a door hanger.
Yeah.
I can kill a neighborhood right now, tomorrow morning, by a click of a button.
Yeah, and you're not talking about you handing it out. You're talking about it's getting sent out on a route.
Basically get on here right now and make a neighborhood circle and target houses between 250, 350. There's all sorts of different things you can mark off.
Interesting.
Send out postcards, and it's kind of a campaign of marketing.
Yeah.
So it isn't just one card.
One day.
It's multiple. It's multiple. Mm-hmm. And they have a lot of things set up on the back end through Drip, which is nice. You know, when your job's complete, they get a letter sent to them.
Yeah.
It looks like it came professionally from you, and you took the time to write it. Not only does that happen, but when you start a job, they target that neighborhood with postcards.
Yeah.
So very similar to door hangers, only it's automated. And
it's like
you don't have to think
marketing.
about it.
It's like the blitz marketing we talk about, right? It's like, look, if I'm doing some Facebook marketing in that area, we're doing a job in that area. We have yard signs now there. We have yard signs where the guys are. They got their shirts on. We got Dope Marketing, you know, circle around with door hangers and whatnot, and cards going out, mailers. I mean, there's no way they didn't see you.
That's right. That's right.
Know? So it's like, if you're in your ideal area and you're taking advantage of that, man, I mean, it's going to be tough not to get jobs.
That's right.
You know, and here's the cool thing. When you do the math, right, you need to be between like 8 and 12% marketing. 10% is kind of like that money range, if you can hit that.
Right.
If you're in that, if you're under spending, you're only hurting yourself to hit your goals.
Yeah.
You got to spend to make. I mean, you texted me before. You said, hey, bro, I've spent more with you than I ever had on this painting business, but it's coming back in troves, you know?
Yeah, you know, and it's scary, you know, when you talk to a guy, and I talked to a lot of different marketers before we even connected, and I was going to do some marketing this year no matter what. Mm-hmm. You know, you sit down and you talk with them, and they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to need like 20 grand. Mm-hmm. And you're like, 20 grand? You know, you're thinking, man, that's a lot of money. Yeah. And then I start rolling with you, and we start doing all this marketing. Next thing I know, 20 grand. I mean, that was nothing. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've been doing, you know, the Facebook stuff with Forward Market Media. We've been doing the Mica, and now we're doing the Dope. And it's like, okay, I see the difference. You know, I mean, my calendar with bids and the phone calls and the leads coming in.
Our goal is going up like 250K every week.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And you're 100% right, though. I mean, if you're not looking at your marketing and saying, I need to spend 10 to 12%, you know, and I know there's guys in the group, and I know that they've talked about how, well, I've never marketed a day in my life. Well, neither had I. Yeah. Since 1999, we'd do some $250 brochure through the grocery store. You know what I mean? I would never spend real money on marketing. I was basically throwing that money out the window.
Yeah.
And now that we're doing some real marketing, we're seeing some serious results.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? I mean, you obviously don't want to bend over and just get retainer fee out of your mind, right? Like they can run up. Don't get me wrong. Some of these fees are a little outrageous, right?
Yeah.
But you got to think to yourself, am I going to use somebody that's probably half the price, not as proven? You don't know what results you're going to get. And then when I try to charge that premium price, I kind of get a little bit more, I don't know, from the customer.
Sure.
Or do you want to be that customer or that company that shows up and is already looking like the guy that's going to charge more?
Right.
So there's incremental differences that make you so much more money, right? If you can look at, hey, if my goal is 1.5, but I know if I spend a little bit more on a better marketing company, it's going to earn me 10% more in profits because I can charge more. I mean, if you do that math, pretty much winning every time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So obviously you have to have a system behind it, right? Like you can get all the leads in the world, but if you're not getting to them quickly, if you're not, qualifying them and have a system behind it and really ironing those things out, you are going to be hampered a little bit. You're going to be in a tough situation, especially if you're on the tools, right? You can't run the business or look at your metrics properly, right? Like one of the good things about having you on as a coach now is you're going to be responsible for having everybody put in their numbers for the week.
Right.
Like how's everything going? Fill out your spreadsheet, right? Go ahead and put your sales and production numbers. Let's take 10 minutes and just run that.
Yeah. I mean, it takes 10 minutes every Friday, Tuesday, whatever. It takes 10 minutes to pop those numbers in.
I guarantee 80% of the people that are going to listen to this podcast don't do that.
No.
Yeah. Guarantee
well,
it.
I know last week's meeting, there was a couple of them that just left. You're like, look, if you're not filling out your sheet, you're just wasting your time here and there. Boop,
yeah.
Boop. And 100%. I'm just like, man, I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'll just
these
get my
are the
sheet.
Non-negotiables,
Yeah.
Because it's like you're literally running a business and now you don't know your numbers. What are you doing?
Right. Yeah. And it's crazy to me because 1999, I would number what? I just roll with the punches. Is there money in my bank account? Yeah. Okay, we're good. And now it's like a daily grind of, well, what did we make on that job? Where are we at? Where was the material at? And
we were just looking at the numbers for your sell rate.
Yeah.
What was it again?
My sell rate?
It was 91, and then you put it to where? 91 an hour, and then what was it?
Well,
did you say it was $83.11?
Yeah. I think I rounded down to 80 now, but yeah. I played a lot with that, thinking that I was maybe smarter than I really was, and
in my head, I'm thinking like, that's a weirdly specific number. But then you're like, well, I added up all my expenses, and then we divided it by blah blah blah, and I'm like, you're like, that's where I need to be. To get my profits. And I'm like, that works for me. Yeah. I'm all in.
I did spend a lot of time with my accountant coming up with those numbers.
Right.
But
that's good, though.
At the end of the day, you a couple bucks and you start looking at, if you did do your sell rate at 82.
Yeah.
If you did it at 80, it really isn't changing that bid that much. Yeah. I mean, it's pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
And to sell those jobs, I think you got to keep those pretty tight. And I think you're spot on when you say, if you're much over 75, 80 bucks a sell rate hour in painting, you're probably not getting the job.
Or you need to be that premium company, which, again, there's not many out there that have it all together and can charge that, right? Because being able to charge those types of hourly amounts, you have to have your shit together.
Yeah, and I think they're
good.
They're
just be in California, right?
Yeah, there's guys that can. I mean, and there's guys that probably are.
Dude, I've done somebody at 120, and that was they were very confident they were at that. I said, right, sounds good to me.
Right. Yeah, and I believe it. I mean, I just think at the end of the day, you look at some of those numbers and it's got to make sense. Your sales process is huge. You know, I think the better your sales process is, probably the higher that number can be. And you dial your sales process in, you're going to probably bump that number up a little bit.
100%.
But
How important was it for you? Because I know something you weren't doing was sitting down with the client and discussing things, right?
it's
What was
kind
it
of
like before, and what was it like now?
it's kind of funny you bring that up, because now it's like, and I don't know if it's because we're getting better leads, but like, we started doing that, and then all of a sudden the client's like, "Hey, you want to have a seat at the coffee table?"
Yeah.
Or the kitchen table. And I'm like, well, I was going to ask that, but since you ask already, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's really funny because never did that. I normally would go in and look at it and say, I'll get back with you, and I'd go home, and if I had time that night, I might put it together. If not, I'll do it tomorrow. I was in no big hurry to get him a number.
Yeah.
Then I'd put it together for him and shoot it over to him. Usually it was just line items, exterior repaint, about 7,500, throw him a number and hope it sticks. And since we're production rate fully now, it's like, I meet Mrs. Smith. I tell her I'm going to take some measurements. I'm going to go sit out in my truck for 10 or 15 minutes. I'll have it ready for you right away. Do you have a minute to talk after we're done? Yep. Go knock on the door. Hey, come on in. Have a seat at the kitchen table. And we go over the numbers with her, and, we try to get them to sell on the spot. I'm not the greatest salesman in the world, but, we sell some of them right there on the spot, and others hey, we'll just email it over to you. Why don't you let me know in a couple days what you think? We make that phone call. Again, something I learned in the class was, hey, you're driving down the road doing nothing. Pick up the phone from your bids a couple days ago, and it's huge. I mean, I don't think I get those jobs sometimes because I don't pick up the phone, and then I do it, and it's like, yeah, well, we're going to sign that tonight. Like, perfect.
Or people get to them too late.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like you didn't follow up, so now they're talking with other clients, other companies, right? They forgot about you, and
right.
That's really, man. I mean, that'll kill any deal. I mean, you've seen it recently, right? You looked into something with the Andy Elliott crew.
Yeah.
You're looking into like some sales support, which, I would do the same thing, right? Like these things where you can invest and learn some shit could be the smallest thing in the world. If it helps you close more deals, it's worth it.
Yeah.
And then they followed up with you like every single day, right?
Oh yeah. They live by their book. I'll promise you that. Yeah. So,
that's funny.
I think it's been really good. The sitting down with the client is huge. I never looked at it that way. I mean, I think you get to know a person a little bit more when you can sit down at the table with them and talk to them, and not just about their project, but life.
It's almost like classy, right? Like
Yeah.
stoic almost.
Right.
Like let's get to know each other. Let's talk. Let's just chit chat. Let's figure this out, And when you get that comfortable and you build that rapport, right? Building rapport gets thrown around so much. But I think there's a different level when you're just chit-chatting with them at the table, right? You kind of shoulders are relaxed now, and you're not even talking about the price anymore. You're just talking about, hey, how we're going to get this done and what's, Aunt Susie's birthday coming up. So it's like, it's funny because that makes it so much easier to close the deal, right? You're just kind of like, so are we getting this thing done? We get you guys, we're getting you guys on the schedule or what? And you're able to do that and feel really confident about it, because a lot of people, they know it's there. They know the opportunity is there, but they just won't go in for the kill. They feel like, I don't want to be too pushy. I don't want to be too salesy. But in reality, customer wants that. Think about the times that you had somebody in your life try to sell you something, right? Whether it was a used car or a car or anything, and you felt a little pressure, just a little bit. Sometimes it's okay, right? They pushed you across the limit, right? You got the deal done. You look back and you're like, meh, worked out,
Right.
Some opportunities are worse than others where you feel like, damn, I wish I wouldn't have got sold, right? you walk into a phone store, you're walking out with a case, a charger,
Yeah, yeah,
a
right,
hotspot that you're like, what the fuck does this thing even do? Right. That was
right,
my life for a while.
yeah,
But you look back and you're kind of like, look, it was my decision. I made it,
hmm
Hey, and for you, if you're the company, you know that you do great work, right? You
right,
know that you're gonna be the company that is gonna deliver what they promise, hopefully, right? So
right,
like, why shouldn't you try and get them across the finish line? That's how I see
yeah.
it.
Well,
You
the
know,
the iron's hot,
iron's hot, man.
and they're thinking about doing it now. They got a problem, and
Hmm.
you're there to fix that problem for
Yeah,
them.
man.
And yeah, it's just about getting them comfortable with you. And I again was the same way as many other painters are. It's price based. It's price based.
Hmm.
It's price based. And after the last 6 or 7 months, I realized it's really not price based.
Right.
If you're in the ballpark and they have three other bids and they're within hundreds of dollars of each other, it's not price based anymore.
Hmm.
It's company based, and it's
100%.
about who they want. Now, granted, some of them are just going to go with the lowest bid, no matter. I mean, you can't fix that.
Hmm.
But for the most part, there are clients out there, the good clients, I say, that are interested in what more do you have to offer than splash and paint on my wall.
Yeah. It's also an
And
emotional sell, right?
yeah,
Like these guys don't have to get this painting done. Yeah, some people, right? They got holes in the wall. Yeah, we need to get this done. But I mean, it's not like plumbing. It's not like HVAC where you're gonna be able to sleep tonight. You're gonna be able to figure it out and be okay for another year or two.
right.
So it's our job to kind of get them across the finish line, right? We know that you don't have to get this done unless the HOA is down your throat. That's
Yeah,
another story.
right, right.
But that I deal with a lot. But like, we need to convert you. We need to get you to like us, let us massage you into getting this thing done, you know?
Yeah, because for the most part, there's really not too many 911 painting jobs that need to be
Yeah,
done.
exactly. Right. Unless you're with restoration companies, right?
Right, right.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
super interesting.
yeah.
Um, yeah, man. Anything else that you want to touch on?
No, I'm excited for this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, it's a new year. It's January. Yeah, I've looked back at the numbers from last year. We're already ahead.
Mm-hmm.
The coaching thing, it's new to me.
Yeah.
I'm excited to learn more about it and be a part of it,
Yeah.
and excited to be, you know, just learning every day.
Yeah.
Being a part of the group is one thing, and then getting mixed in with a couple guys that are really good at what they do and they coach people to help them do it. I feel like I get a little extra support there.
Yeah.
When we meet, me, you, and Sam, it's like I pick up things, and it's like I'm just learning everything I can learn.
Yeah, man.
Because eventually I would like to be the delegator of all,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the goal.
Yeah, that'll
Uh,
come, man. If
you
you do
know,
everything, that we're outlining and that we preach, man. I mean, it's only a matter of time, right?
yeah,
One step at a time. But also, you understand that you can put your foot on the gas and accelerate things pretty quickly when you have a good
that's right.
plan, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, man, I'm excited as well, man. I'm glad to have you on the team, and I think you're the embodiment of somebody that took everything, ran with it, and now all you want to do is spread the word. I mean,
Yeah, I've told
simple as
you.
that.
I've told you a million times. Like it's like I wish you were more like forward marketing media, where you can only get a certain area.
Oh, okay.
Because you're like the secret weapon.
Hmm.
And I know there's other painters in my area that could take serious value from it. They use DripJobs.
Right.
I bid against them daily. I know they're
Hmm.
just using line items.
Hmm.
Um, and it's just like, man, I know these guys could learn something.
For sure.
And they're great painters and they have great companies. It's just they were doing a lot like I used to. And
Hmm.
I see it. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to keep going ahead. I'm going to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many guys out there like that, though.
Yeah, man.
There's a lot of painters that just throw the number against the wall. Let's hope it sticks. And there's no reason why.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm really excited about this year. It's going to be a fun year.
Yeah, man.
So
We got an announcement as well. We got this free school community coming out.
yeah,
So people are going to be able to see kind of what we're about, right? And they can chime in, join the community, right? There's going to be special calls in our private coaching that we allowed the public to open up to, and just that group will be invited to. So that's exciting, right? They get extra support that would not have been there if this wasn't around. They're also going to get access to modules, which are going to help them out a lot, and a special 20-point starting guide for painting businesses. So if you open up a new business or you're fairly new and you want to get off the ground, there's a literal checklist with links on what to do, how to do it, right? Open up business bank account, LLC, website, how to bid, like the whole nine, it's all there. So we're going to be releasing that. That should come Feb 1st. So
that'd be pretty cool.
We'll launch that. We'll make it a big announcement, and then people will start to get a taste of what we do, man. So excited.
Right. Yeah.
So, rock on, brother. Appreciate you. And until the next one.
That sounds good, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
See ya.